Hello, podcast listeners. You have chosen an episode featuring Ryan Lance of The Blenders and Brat Pack Radio. You are going to hear about touring stories. You're going to hear about what it was like talking to record executives. And he's also going to tell you what comedy he likes to listen to as well. All of this and so much more on this episode of JJ Meets World. But first, a quick word from our sponsor. This episode of JJ Meets World is brought to you by Natalie Deutsch of Hatch Realty. Natalie has a proven track record to get your home sold faster and for more money. She is consistently focused on her clients' needs and wants throughout the entire process and make sure that they are well taken care of. If you're looking to buy or sell, reach out to Natalie today. On average, Natalie sells a home every 3.74 days. That's at least 2 a week. And last year, Natalie earned her clients on average over $4,000 above list price on their homes. And you don't have to take our word for it. Here's some of the great reviews Natalie has received. I was overwhelmingly impressed with Natalie and all the Hatch team. She was very responsive and responded to all of the emails within an hour. She gave great advice and encouragement from the listing and pictures, the offer, and all the closing details. The marketing team knew exactly how to promote my property, and I was pleased by how soon and easily my property received an offer. I was actually dreading selling my condo, and Natalie did such an awesome job that I felt like I really didn't need to do anything. The thing I most appreciated was that she really listened to what I wanted to do and respected my decisions. I would definitely recommend Natalie and all the Hatch Realty team. They made this process so wonderful. That was from Diane. So listen, if you're in the mood to buy or sell a home, give Natalie a call right now. You can reach her at 701-388-9338. Natalie, Natalie, at hatchrealtyfm.com, or you can go to livefargomorehead.com. That's livefargomorehead.com and find out some information. Huge thanks to Natalie Deutsch of Hatch Realty for sponsoring JJ Meets World.
1, 2, 3, 4. J.J. Gordon, sort of like that Indiana Jones, in that he's always sniffing out his next adventure. Yes, he is. He's always interviewing guests so he can have them on his show and they can talk about pop culture, arts, and leisure. J.J. has his flag unfurled and he likes his french fries curled, and he's fun and then he twirls as he goes to meet the world. He will march into the rain even if his ankle sprained. Take a peek inside his brain. This podcast is called JJ Meets World.
I don't have any musical ability myself. I can't sing. I can't play any instruments. I appreciate music for what it is, but I'll never be that person who's a part of it. And our guest today has got a deep and rich background when it comes to music. And it's the music that I like because he knows that part of being a musician is the showmanship, right?
The pageantry.
Right. Ryan, you know him from The Blenders, Brat Pack Radio. Gosh, there was a Christmas movie that came out with John Leguizamo that used one of his songs at one point,
Basically,
I believe.
if you've spent any time in the FM area for the past 5 years, or you know who the Blenders are.
The Blenders are a 4-person a cappella band that became huge. So if you're from outside the area, go to YouTube and listen to some of this. And now their Christmas shows have become pretty much the way you usher in the holiday season in our neck of the woods. It's a phenomenon.
They're an institution. They are a Fargo institution, and we are very Fargo proud of them.
Yes, that's a good way of saying it. Very Fargo proud. And in this episode, we go all over the place. We talk a little bit of comedy. We, of course, get some inside secrets to the beginning and the middle of the Blenders. And
we get blended in.
Why didn't I think of that? I wish I would have gotten
these
there.
out of the park, man.
Yeah. And we just get to talk with Ryan, who is just one of those fun guys. I always look forward to seeing him whenever I do because there's a lot of laughs. And full disclosure, I would say probably about 20 minutes of this show had to get cut because we got so deep that we're like, this is not part of it.
Certain people we want to protect.
Yeah. So this one is a lot of fun. And I think even if you don't know who the Blenders are, you're going to enjoy this. If you know who the Blenders are, boy, you're going to have a really good time with this.
And if you want to listen to some, I've got some Blenders CDs. You're more than welcome to borrow, people.
Yep. He's been picking them up at pawn shops.
They're a screaming deal at $1 a pop.
I think we should make a goal to collect all of the blenders.
That is the goal for sure, for sure. Although I'm going to have to replace some of the cases because not all of these discs I'm finding in the wild were kept in care.
Oh, that's too bad. Did you open up any of them and find a different CD inside it?
Not yet.
That's
I've been lucky so far. I'm 4 for 4 right now.
That's good. I wonder whose mother passed away, and they're like, "We'll just bring all these to the pawn shop."
I found 3 in one stop, right next to each other. So someone liquidated their blenders collection at once.
They probably ripped it all, and so they're like, "I've got it all on my Zune now, so I don't have to worry about it." Folks, I want you to swing over to Patreon.com, Patreon.com/JJMeetsWorld. It's a great way to give to this podcast. All the episodes are absolutely free, so you don't have to worry about paying anything for them. But a donation goes a long way, especially if you like an episode that you're making like your mom listen to a bunch. So tell your mom to go give to us on Patreon. That's probably a good way.
Moms love JJ Meets World.
They do. Oh, in fact, let's choosy moms choose Jif.
This one's for the mommies out there.
Yep, for all the mommies in the world.
JJ Meets World.
Ryan, welcome to the JJ Meets World studios.
Thanks for having me.
How old is that T-shirt you're wearing?
Well, it's an interesting story. Not really, but I had a different shirt on this morning. I stayed at my mom's last night, and I drove up here last night from Minneapolis and realized I didn't have a jacket, and it was really cold. And so she goes, "You wouldn't have any need for this shirt. It's a Trollwood Crew shirt." And I said, "Actually, yeah, I'm freezing. I'll wear that." And I bet you they're going to comment on it. So I've actually only owned it for about 45 minutes.
Okay, I was assuming that you just had a whole slew of Trollwood shirts that you're just sitting around.
I don't
just grab it and put them on.
You'd think that I would, but I don't. I don't know where. I don't know where any of them are. Actually,
but still, like, how old do you think that shirt is?
Man, probably from 80s. So,
right.
Yeah. It's it would be called vintage.
It's in great condition for an 80s shirt.
Well, my mom's just probably have it hanging in her closet the whole time.
Just waiting.
It's vintage. No moths have taken it to it or anything. So
do you have like a favorite free shirt you ever got? One that you wore over and over and it was like, this is not a paint shirt. This is a Ryan shirt.
Yeah. My favorite free shirt is probably going to the Super America. Now they're being changed to Speedways down in Minneapolis, but I'd get the huge Diet Mountain Dew. Mm-hmm. And I noticed that the whole crew was they had a special. They had these like yellow t-shirts that said, the Super Sipper for 25 cents special. I'm like, I kept, bugging him like, I want to get one of those. And they would laugh. And then one time I was in there and they handed me one. So that was kind of like, just a bright yellow shirt with a advertisement for a Super Sipper on the front. So I wore that quite a bit.
I do a custom trivia thing on Tuesdays and we created a t-shirt. We've got a category where we show a picture of a famous person's mustache, like just the mustache, and you have to identify who the famous person is.
Yeah.
Been doing it now for 9 years. And if your team correctly answers it, at the end of the night, we draw from all the teams who got it right, and they win this shirt that says, "I named that stash." And it says Fargo on it, which I think is the real draw of the shirt. But it's amazing because you can't buy them.
Right.
And you can't get them anywhere else. You have to win them. So like your Super Sipper shirt.
Right.
It's not like the average Joe. You had to be an SA employee.
And yes, exactly. A very coveted position, and you have to right place, right time kind of thing, Right. So, there's some eBay potential there, I think.
Oh, definitely.
I'm pretty sure.
How do you deal with the varying body sizes of people who win? Do you have all sizes, or are you just
we have from small to triple XL.
Okay,
but no tall sizes.
Right.
Which is the thing I like tall sizes.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's like a crop top.
It really is. Like I find the whole time I'm pulling
what makes
it
a tall size?
They add like an extra 3 inches of fabric on the bottom.
I'm not a tall, so that's why.
I'm not either. I don't have to worry about that.
Never known what being tall is like.
It's all my problems because I'm shaped. I believe you. What do you say? A caramel apple with 2 sticks.
Yep.
Yeah. So that shape is hard to put stuff on.
Like
sometimes.
A pumpkin someone put on a fence post.
Right. Because if you look, I'm going to stand up for you guys. Like, look at these pants, right? Like, they're like not huge legs, right?
No.
Skinny leg, but up top.
Well,
Up top, you know what I'm built like? Do you
JJ's
I do
body.
know what you're built like.
JJ's body. Yeah. JJ's body follows like Marvel superhero physics. So you're
Right.
like, that shouldn't be able to do that.
Right.
But it does.
Yeah, like
Right.
he should be tipping over right now.
Yeah, it's kind of a male problem though.
It really
yeah,
is.
you see a lot of guys with really skinny legs, and then they just kind of get bigger on top.
Yeah, and my grandfather had these man breasts like I
Sure.
have too. And he would
Comes with the territory.
It does, and he swam in the lake every day during the summer. And I was like, well, my grandfather's not ashamed of his moobs,
Right.
so I'm not going to be shameful.
He's
and
a
then I
man
went
of
to
a
middle
certain
school, and then I was very shameful.
Yeah. Oh, kids are cruel.
Ryan, tell us a little bit about yourself.
What do you want to know?
Well, like, where'd you come from?
Well, I had a show at the Windbreak last night with my band Brat Pack Radio, and I opted to. So I stayed at my mom's because she lives in Moorhead. So that's where I came. I'm just going to tell you right now where I came from exactly. I did not stay. I was very slow on the draw to get hotels for the band. Because there was a Pink concert in town last night, so everything was taken. So, but luckily, I found a few rooms in South Moorhead. It's that I'm not going to say what it is, but it's kind of the place that, like, usually if there's like a lover's quarrel that ends up in a double murder suicide thing, that's where it happens. So, so
I'm
we got a good
familiar
deal.
with that
Yeah,
one.
we got a good deal on that one. And I just opted to go to my mom's, and she was babysitting my brother's kids. So I was sleeping in the basement. I think I fell asleep about 4:30 after I got home. And at 6:30, my nephew was down there cranking Mario. And so I had about 2 hours of rest. But
Then you got to get on the road and drive
I
home.
got to get on the road and drive. Yes.
God, this is a very detailed answer that's not in the spirit of the question. I love it.
yeah.
I love it.
But I'm from Fargo
Okay.
originally. Born in Crookston, Minnesota. Of course, the Widman's Chocolates capital of Minnesota. And I grew up in Fargo and grew up doing theater and music and dance and all sorts of stuff like that.
You were a Fargo South High kid, right?
It's not as Fargo North.
Oh, you were a Spartan?
Yeah.
Eat it,
Oh.
JJ. Eat it.
I was a Spartan. Were you a Spartan, Tucker?
Yeah.
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 Hoorah.
How were those times?
Actually, not too bad. I was not like the popular kid at all because I was in ballet and stuff, and I was also not part of the theater department, which was kind of weird. But I was in orchestra, in jazz band, and so I was pretty nerdy, but I got along with everybody, so that was kind of cool.
That's always
I would
nice.
get teased. I would get teased by someone like the ne'er-do-wells, but I kind of didn't really care because I had my life outside of school where I felt pretty confident. So,
Do any of those ne'er-do-wells come up to you in your adult life and you're like, you don't even give them the time of day? You're like, later.
yeah, well, no, now, but they friend me on Facebook, and that usually you have to scroll through the first few pictures to see if there's a picture of an eagle or a truck, and then you just like whether you friend them or not. But I stay in touch with some of them, and they're actually fine now. Everybody's fine.
I had a kid who gave me a rough time in high school, send me a message, and he's like, I just want to apologize for
Well,
giving you a
that's
rough time.
Really?
Da-da-da. I was like, well, thank you very much for saying that. And then he sent me this long thing about how he and his wife got divorced, and he thinks that, like the patterns he started when he was in high school and da-da-da-da.
At this point, you're like, okay.
Yeah, I was like, oh, damn it. Why did I even respond to this thing? And
I've given you absolution, not friendship.
Right.
Stop talking to me.
But I instantly thought of that scene in Billy Madison where
that sounds like a
Where
that sounds like a
Steve Buscemi.
12-step thing to me, right?
It probably is.
What is it? The where you make amends. That's probably what it was.
That's like step 4, right?
Yeah,
Make amends.
I wouldn't know, but but yeah, that's probably what it was.
So you got a pretty funny Facebook as well. I'm going to compliment you on that. I always enjoy reading your Facebook.
It's not It's not necessarily all original. It's just that there's too much crap out there. Right?
You do a great job live tweeting events. Like when it comes to like the Grammys and like, I always want to be like, ooh, what's going to be the snark on this one?
It's funny. Like I'll go dark for a while, and people are like, what didn't get that? I'm just not feeling it tonight. I was in a phase for a while where I had to do that all the time, but now it's a little more pick and choose.
Do you have to do it because people expected it?
Well, for a while, I felt like I did. It was pretty hard to live up to that, but I I don't know. I think to me, social media is just bizarre.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, the self promotion. Like with Instagram, it got even crazier with self promotion with the stories and stuff like that. I'm always amazed. Like, oh my God, these people are just doing content constantly.
Yeah, I'm working on my mommy blog with my brand.
It's
and I'm
I mean,
doing
I don't know
this and that.
I hate to be like
everyone has a brand now.
Yeah, right. Everybody is a brand. I think there was an Onion thing about the other day about like guy. I don't know. I have to look for it. Something about his brand is. I don't know. I can't remember. But anyway, yeah. I don't know. I Facebook is a good place for me to like kind of air my grievances and just poke some stuff out there, and hopefully people will laugh. You know,
it's sort of like Martin Luther nailing the notice to the church hall, right? But you just get to do it digitally.
The theses, right?
Yeah.
The 10.
My Facebook activity is usually about whatever weird kick I'm going on at that moment.
Right.
And so recently I bought a ton of Blender CDs.
That was hilarious.
And I got called out by someone for calling you guys a naughty thing. I can't remember. Someone like
It's probably somebody we know that was just messing with it.
No, like an elderly fan.
it was an elderly fan.
She was not happy with
Really?
the language Tucker was using to describe.
Tim kind of came to my rescue.
It was okay.
I can't remember how
That's
it went,
funny though.
but-
And you can only buy those at used bookstores, used record stores, whatever. You can't find them.
I totally forgot to bring my McDonald's girl one. I was going to have Ryan sign that one.
I should have. I got to remember the package. I have to get the whole package for you. There's probably some stuff out there that
Box set.
stuff that shows up. Yeah, we've got stuff in our boxes in our garages that it's like, what is this?
Right.
Some crazy dance mixes of something. What a weird time, man.
So let's segue into the blenders a little bit.
Okay.
So that's pretty exciting. You guys, how many years have you been doing
It's
this
our
now?
30th.
Holy
We're
moly.
celebrating our 30th this year, yeah.
That's pretty amazing, isn't it?
28 liking each other, but 30 years together.
So
It is, I think, amazing because, I mean, it's like a marriage kind of, you know?
you know, if people are listening to this outside of the region, the Blenders, an acapella group originally, and now I would just call you guys like the ultimate Fargo boy band.
We're like, you know, vocal man band.
Yeah, and man band now.
Man band.
And it's really, I mean, it really is amazing because. First of all, you have this huge following. It is massive. People say, well, it's not Christmas until I go to the Blenders.
It's true. It's true. It's turned out to be kind of a thing. And now, I mean, it's been almost exclusively Christmas for since probably the 2000.
Once you get that random fundraiser where someone tries to put you guys
and then
together.
we've got some private stuff, corporate stuff, or whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much exclusively what it is right now. And we're trying to actually, this is the year we're talking about like, well, all right, we've gone this far. What are we going to keep on doing? You know, maybe we'll start doing some stuff during the year publicly too. I don't know. At this point, you can't really turn back.
Right. Well, I mean, you guys are getting close to the point of where it's sort of
One
like.
of us will be dead soon.
Yeah.
Yes. You're right. That's very right.
But with hologram technology, I mean,
I mean, come on. Anybody can just slap a costume on somebody and throw them out there.
Tim's
too.
not that animated.
No.
We could put a robot up there for you to see, right, Tim?
Well, do you
we can
think?
motion capture pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably replace one of the Rusts with someone who looks like Darren or Alan, you know, just enough.
Well, pretty much. You could, any one of us, I think.
We get people screaming, be like, oh, it must have been a rough year for Alan. So is it weird though Fargo feels a lot of ownership over the Blenders,
which is really cool.
I'm glad you think it's cool because
cool.
like at one point I'd be like, I am my own person, everybody.
No, it's pretty cool. It feels good to come home and sell out, 8 nights at the theater. It's a great thing. We're really lucky.
Well, you're the only act that could do that. I mean, there are, certainly large national acts that would go to the Civic or the Fargo Theater, but that notion of like night after night, year after year.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy because it kind of builds. I mean, we thought for a while it was just kind of being stagnant, but actually we started opening. We're like, what if we actually did a Monday or Tuesday night? Would people come? We always thought it would just be a weekend kind of thing, but no, people will come on weeknights too. So I don't know. We had tossed around maybe trying to do like the Shields Arena or something like that and doing maybe 2 nights, just something different. So it wasn't, but it's kind of a different thing. Yeah. You kind of lose. The theater's such a cool place it's got such a great history for us and, you know, the town stuff. And it's way more intimate. So it's much cooler to do it in a place like that. Sounds better, looks better.
Yeah.
And then you guys are also, is it the State that you do in Minneapolis?
We do the Pantages.
The Pantages.
Which is about a similar size. It's like 1,000 something seat house. It's a beautiful theater and a perfect size for us, but we do three or four shows there too.
And then are you down in Iowa for a couple,
then we go to
right?
like Des Moines and kind of whoever will have us at that point. I mean, the only ones that we promote are Des Moines, here, Minneapolis, and then the rest of them are usually picked up by like art series. They bring us in.
So it's a kind of a neat, exciting thing. Totally. I worked the box office one year for you guys because I was the box office manager at the Fargo Theater. And the day that tickets opened and you've got that line of like 75 people who are getting their tickets the day of, and everyone has a story that they want to tell me about how they're connected to you.
Break. You're like, listen, I've got stories.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. Be like, I was Ryan's third grade teacher and I haven't missed a show since he was this old. I was like, oh, great. So how many tickets?
Right, exactly.
You're paying with a check? Fantastic.
JJ has a pretty deep personal connection to the Blenders too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I
used to live across the street over by
Jenny Baumgartner.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
In fact, last time I saw her, she's like, you're still calling me Jenny. You should call me Jennifer. And I'm like, nope. You're always going to be Jenny Baumgartner.
Exactly.
To me. Yeah.
Yep.
That's just the way it is, right?
Yeah. Oh, I remember little JJ running around.
You know what? We've got a video from you guys played my sister's second birthday party down at the lake.
I know. I remember that.
Yeah.
That was right. That's right.
Playing in front of a screen door.
Yes.
Nothing better than that, right?
Well, I believe that we asked for that. It was on a rider. We stayed overnight too and everything. It was a big party. It was really
gave
fun.
you guys like the guest cabin.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, my parents always said like that was probably the best birthday party they ever threw because
so fun.
There were a ton of people there.
Right. Slayers, there's no way Chrissy remembers that.
No, God, no. In fact, in the video we have of it, she's kind of being passed around.
Right. She didn't even know what she was getting.
Yeah.
She wasn't a Blenders fan.
None of us were.
And that would have been, oh man. Yeah, I think 1990 or 1987 was
86,
it. Yeah.
87.
That was awesome. That was a
What
good
were we talking
time.
about again?
Yeah. We're talking about my sister's
Right,
birthday
your
party.
sister's birthday. Well, let's see. How old is your sister? Let's try to do some math here.
So she's born in 85, so that makes sense. 2 years.
And she was a 2-year birthday party?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go with 87. So that's all we need to do.
September of 87, probably
Perfect.
Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, it was. You're right.
Yeah, that fits.
Yeah. Yep.
So after all of these years, you guys seem to still really enjoy doing it, or is that just a really good act?
Well, it is a really good act. No, I mean, first of all, we're friends. That's the main thing. We've been friends forever. Like Tim and I have known each other since North Fargo. I moved in on his block. He was 4, I was 5, and we were friends with Patrick too. Patrick Casper's brother, and I've known Alan since probably junior high when I was teaching. He was in one of my dance classes that I taught out at Trollwood, and then I met Darren through him. So it's been a long time. We're like brothers, and that's the main thing that keeps us together is just that we enjoy hanging out. I mean, our rehearsals are pretty much, you do your homework and come to rehearsal and then we just end up talking for about 3 hours and not getting anything done.
The year I got to watch the process as you were putting the show together, and you did something which I thought was really brilliant, which was, we'll put the show together in Fargo because it's the place where we have the most resources.
Right.
And I was watching, you were the one who was struggling with Pro Tools and having to do all these different things. And it seemed like they just kind of sat around and waited for Ryan to make the magic happen.
Well, it would be either me or Darren probably, but maybe, I struggle sometimes. But this was a while back though, probably, right?
Yeah, well, the struggle was you'd be up there working, and then they'd need something tweaked, and so you'd have to run all the way to the back of the theater and fix it. Well, they just didn't do anything else.
I don't know if that's maybe, but we all have our jobs, and so somebody else is running to the back of the room for Pro Tools is
the one that you drew out of the hat,
or whatever. I do more of the staging and the lighting and stuff like that. Darren's mostly the audio guy.
Oh yeah,
and then Alan does all the advertising, graphic design stuff, and then Tim kind of the business guy.
Oh really?
Puts the tour together and books it, and embezzles, and he's that guy.
And then really you're the only one who kept like performing outside of the Blenders, right? Like
Al did too for a little bit, but currently, yeah.
he likes to be behind Darren likes to be behind the board now,
Yeah,
right?
so he has his recording studio in Lakeville, so he's still doing, we're all kind of doing what we do in just different facets, Al does he does video and graphic stuff for a company and freelances, and Darren's got a studio he produces. Tim is right now he's doing like corporate training using acting exercises to train people how to speak around the world.
That's smart.
Yeah.
I do a lot of improv stuff, and there's this big real estate agent who just like wrote a book about like, hey, you should use improv.
Yeah.
And so like I'm getting that sweet real estate money right now.
Good.
Yeah, I'm loving it.
Good. And it's the line benders, right?
Yeah, that's
How's
the
it
one.
going?
It's really good, actually.
How many years now with that?
This is 18.
Wow. You guys should do a joint show called The Line Blenders.
I can't tell you how disappointed people have been when they've called our phone number thinking that we are the Blenders. We also have been booked, and then I'll listen to someone doing our intro, and they're like, they're the Mind Benders. They're a hypnotist act. You're going to love it. And you go like, walk out and be like, well, sorry, folks.
Right.
Hope you all liked Whose Line Is It Anyway.
I would pay to see an improv acapella act.
We used to. That back in the day, that's kind of what we would do. We would take requests and just go for stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then we're like, we're not going to do that anymore. It's too much work. Fun. No, but that was part of our college touring stuff. It was just we'd start in on them. Somebody throw something out, and then we'd transition. I think we had like a 25-minute medley of just improv stuff that we used to do.
Oh, that's awesome.
I remember when I think I shot your concert in 05 or 06
Probably,
or something like that. That was back when we're still using mini DV tapes and stuff.
Yep.
And one of the performances, I don't know what song it was, but the sound went out. Like suddenly, whatever reason, like the whole thing went out. And the four of you didn't miss a beat. You just basically put your microphones down, and then you just sort of converged to the front of the stage, and then kept singing.
Yep.
And you were able to project, and we got this a cappella rendition for the rest of it. And the audience loved it because they could tell immediately what happened. There was a technical glitch, and you guys covered, and it was still this like really cool experience.
I mean, it's cool when stuff like that happens to your advantage, but it's, you're in that moment. You're like, we did one. It was like Nebraska. We were playing some theater in Nebraska, and it was during it was a spring blizzard had happened and knocked the power out of like pretty much the whole state. And so we ended up doing the rest of our show that way, but it was like the security lights came on and everything and no sound, and we sang and it was so bad. Like I remember getting out of there too that night. Everybody's so complimentary and whatever, but the main story I get out of it is we knew where our hotel was, but we were trying to find food, and because everything was closed down and we were so freaking hungry, like they didn't give us food. And then they said, oh, we might have some food at our house or something like that. Whatever. Anyway, it's one of those things where we ended up like trying to track them down, the people who like hired us, and we like went to their house, and it was like knocking on their doors like late at night, and they come out totally. It was like with the like Laura Ingalls Wilder with the candle and the nightcap and that kind of thing. Basically, like, what the hell are you doing? And we're like, we're hungry. Food, please.
Do you guys have any cookies?
And they were it was crazy because we were starving, and they were really not very nice at all. They're like, just stay there. We have some turkey in the fridge. And then they like brought turkey out to us, and that was it. We're like, screw this. We just kicked ass. Somehow it was our fault that the power went out,
Oh, sure. Yeah. And God forbid, you guys kept the audience there to finish the show.
Those kind of things, man. Those are the best stories. I love. That's what it's all about.
Do you have I know like stand-up comedians have stories about like the worst venue experience they went into where they'd go in some place and clearly no one is there realizing there's going to be a stand-up show. They're competing with the music from the bar. And this is happening and that's happening. Was there ever a nightmare scenario in the Blenders history where you ended up booking a gig somewhere, showed up and you went, oh my God?
Well, yeah. We used to do a lot of the when we were in the kind of doing the NACA circuit, which is the National Association of Campus Activities, you'd get we do these showcases around the country, and then you'd get schools that had a budget that they had to spend money, right? So we would book a tour, and sometimes they would try to double it up, and it was great for us for making money. But we'd do like an afternoon, they would call them nooners, and then go and do an evening one at a theater somewhere else. So quite often we'd be doing 2 shows a day in 2 completely different towns routing. It was our crank and bank time. But it got to a point where we're not doing this anymore, because it was like 11 o'clock in the morning. They wouldn't hang up posters or flyers or anything. And first of all, who wants to see us at like noon, and so they'd put us like in the cafeteria or like a study area. Yes. And so we'd be like going 2 check, 1 2 2 check. People like, shut up, I'm trying to study, And so we'd have to like endure that. And then we would do a song, and it was just silence. So we one of those times we finally said, okay, when we shouted out for requests and somebody said, yeah, stop, I'm trying to study, we're like, I don't know if the money's worth it at this point. So we went back home, or back to Minneapolis, which wasn't our home at that point yet, but we told our agent, we said, we are not doing any more nooners. And there was one agent that was booking these a lot. He just wanted to make money. So he's like getting up all the ones he could. And so we said, no more nooners, no more nooners. Theaters only theaters. All right. And so then this one came through that was like a nooner, and it was at Inver Grove Community College in Inver Grove Heights down by Minneapolis. And we were still living in Fargo. We drove down there, and he assured us it was a theater, and we pulled up the place, and the girl who booked us walked out and let us in to show us where the performing area is. We walked in, and it was literally a little 6-inch stage right next to like the hot dog line, and people are studying. And then our agent said there's a balcony and everything. Well, the balcony is like basically the overhang. This is the student union, the overhang where people are up top studying and passing. Oh, man. So this was not a theater. This was, in a cafeteria. And so we walked in, we looked at it, and we're like, okay. And we went out to our truck, and we left. We left. Yeah. We didn't even say anything.
Yep.
We left, and we drove straight to our agent's house. And he's like, hey, Dave, how's it going? Good. You know why we're here? No, what? Oh, don't you have a show right now? Well, yeah, we said we're no more nooners. And that was kind of like one of those points where putting the foot down. We just had to say no more. It's just demeaning people. So we kind of hated that thing. That kind of stuff was bad. We opened up for like a heavy metal band one time.
What?
Man.
Which was...
how did that happen?
I think somebody thought it was a good idea.
Sure.
I don't know. Just, hey.
Their money's green too, right?
Yeah, right. And so, okay. So, we make the best of it.
Right.
So I think we threw the word fuck in between like every other... It's like, fucking in my room, fucking, something like that, right? Fucking under the boardwalk. Something just to like try to hold them, but.
You probably had like 6 people there who are really getting into that. They're like, this is exactly what I was talking about. This is what I wish they would do with metal.
Yeah. As long as we changed somebody's life, it was worth it.
And so tell me a little bit about Brat Pack Radio.
Yes. So that kind of came out of my wife and I used to love going around doing karaoke, and we thought one night, we're like, how can we make money doing this rather than spending money? So we're kind of looking for the Blenders taking a little time off, and thought, well, maybe let's do a cover band of 80s stuff, but let's kind of make fun of it and just make it more of a show rather than being in a cover band kind of thing, And that kind of started then. That's like 18 years now, almost, I think.
Wow,
something like that. Yeah.
How much of your time in the year does Brat Pack take up?
Well, it's a throughout the whole year, so it's like almost every week.
Wow.
It's been it's been 2 shows a week pretty much for 18 years, I'm guessing.
God.
Yeah. But I pulled back. I'm developing it more into a theater show now. And I've got a couple other shows that I'm trying to build and turning it into more of like a franchisable kind of thing. That's the goal anyway.
That's smart.
Yeah. So it's in the process of working on that kind of stuff right now. I've got a partner that's that I'm working with that we're looking for a space for a rehearsal space and a place to throw up a show so that we can light it and choreograph it and everything. I started adding dancers, make just a bigger spectacle.
I think the great thing about a show like that, which is people are going to come dressed in their 80s garb, right?
Yeah.
Like it becomes a sort of interactive, fun night out.
Yeah. And there's other stuff too. Like I wanted to do you could pretty much do any genre, anything.
Yeah.
With the same template, but I wanted to bring it up to like another level, full on video content, synced video content, dancers, just fun stuff.
What 80s song are you done with?
All of them.
All of them?
All of them.
Because I knew a cover band who will not do any Aha anymore. They're like, we're done.
We still do them. I'm just done with them. It's like I'm done with all of them.
Just like
I don't even listen. I can't even listen to stuff anymore. It's all research. When I listen to music, it's researched for me. I don't really enjoy it. There's nothing it's got to be so outside that it wouldn't have anything to do with what I'm doing currently.
I have the same thing with brownies.
Yeah. See?
It's just research at this point.
I do have I started a band with a friend of mine this year, which is totally different. And it's pretty fun. It's like a tiki lounge spy, 60s kind of vibe.
I like how everything is high concept too.
Well,
I really like it.
This one is like super high concept. This is not my baby, but I'm a part of it. A buddy of mine lives in Hawaii. He and his wife live in Hawaii, and they've really into tiki culture. But, so, we were talking. He's like, I really want to start this band. Amy and I are thinking about doing this. And then, do you want to be involved? Do you want to, play keyboards? And we'll have like names, and I'm Captain Jack Stubing, and it should be really fun. But the impetus for it, which allowed it to kind of happen, was so they have a place in Hawaii, and they live next door to Todd and Michelle Rundgren. I don't know if you're familiar with Todd Rundgren.
Yeah, bang on the drums all day.
Yeah. Okay. So, and they own a restaurant bar on their island called Tiki Iniki. So Rick and Amy moved there knowing that they lived next door to these guys, which it's like property is huge, right? So like right next door is not right next door, but so they went into Tiki Iniki and started to befriend Michelle. And Michelle started talking about how she wanted to start a tiki band or whatever. And now Michelle used to be in the Tubes, another 80s band. So that's how she met Todd. She was a backup singer and a choreographer for the Tubes. And so Rick's like, well, let's do this. Let's put this idea together and let's do something with it. So basically it just was a matter of going, okay, we're going to do this now. And so we put together, my buddy Rick wrote some great songs and put together a bunch of original tunes and some cover tunes. So it's like, we're doing like a Cars tune, and we're doing Blondie, and then it's some original stuff, but it's all in this kind of, vibey surf, whatever kind of way, and because Michelle Rundgren's in it, we kind of get some cool gigs. So like last year we did Todd's, he has a benefit in Chicago for music in schools. So we went and we did his benefit, and we're, Greg Hawkes, the keyboard. I shared keyboard duties with Greg Hawkes from the Cars, which was pretty
Sweet.
cool.
That's awesome.
And just getting to sit with Todd in the dressing room for about an hour and just talk to him about production stuff. Pretty cool. So that's kind of a fun thing. We did a Tiki Fest, the big Tiki Fest, Tiki Oasis in San Diego, which is like thousands and thousands of people that like descend upon San Diego. It was our first time playing. We did it last year, and it was just a blast. It's just a bizarre culture, but that's one of those things where it's like, it's totally different from what everybody in the band does. Michelle hasn't done this for a while. Rick and Amy haven't done this in a while. Rick has been in bands before. Noah, our drummer, plays with Brian Setzer and Peter Frampton right now. His son Isaac, who's 15, plays bass for me in Brat Pack Radio, and he plays for the Intoxicats. And then we have the new Power Generation horn section, which is Prince's horn section, and it's like freaking slamming. It's so fun.
That's phenomenal.
So really, music consumes so much of your life.
Yeah. Like, it used to be a lot of theater and dance and stuff like that. And then music kind of took over. And that's pretty much what I'm doing right now. As far as the theater aspect goes, I utilize those skills more in the directorial or, like you said, concept kind of stuff, putting shows together, I still choreograph once in a while, some things, some corporate stuff and whatever, but it's mostly music.
When I saw the Jersey Boys on Broadway, I was thinking to myself,
Yep.
They could do a Blenders version of Jersey Boys where it's you guys getting together and you don't sing underneath the streetlight, but we'd make like a fake Fargo Theater marquee,
right?
And it'd be huge. So just I'll
here
just
it might
put that
do
out. Yeah, you never know. You never know.
There's a story there.
Yeah, you get Jay Leno to like tweet about it.
See,
because you guys opened for him quite a bit, right?
Yep, that was pretty cool. That was kind of one of our bigger breaks was playing Caesars in Las Vegas with him.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, he was great. Like our first time ever to Vegas, playing the main room at Caesars, being on the big marquee, it was so cool pulling into town.
Did that change things for you to say like, okay, like at what point did you decide this is going to be my career? Music is going to be what I'm going to do.
Well, I think like the big thing was when we had sent that cassette tape to Arsenio Hall and they called us and then wanted us on the show, even though we didn't have a record label or anything. They're like, well, realistically, these are spots on our show are pretty much bought by record labels, and so it's a little political, but we're going to try to squeeze you in somehow. And they did, and they put us up and they put us on the show. And because of that, we got our audition for De Niro for A Bronx Tale, which was, so we got to fly to New York and meet him and do that. And then it was Leno and then Howie Mandel. And so it was just kind of like all snowballing at that time, and thought, okay, this could be cool. And then we got our first record deal and then our first major deal. And then it was all kind of going until our Universal Records deal kind of went a little stagnant after McDonald's Girl. They just kind of classic record label story where just kind of go, we're going to throw our money over to Wu-Tang Clan or whatever. I think that's who it was at the time. And so you kind of get shelved, and then that's kind of it. And you're like going, well, what's up? What are we going to do now? So then we came up, the idea right at that time was doing a Christmas record. And so from that point on, it was like, okay, we're just going to own this and we're going to do what we want to do and not try to be a record label pawn,
And look at what they're missing out on today.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's pretty crazy because I think just to be able to say that we're still doing stuff, I think we came out okay on the other end,
Oh, and so here's what I think is very telling about what you guys do. First of all, like I said, Fargo feels this ownership. It's not just Fargo. It's the whole region feels this ownership over the Blenders because you have parents who saw your show, who brought their kids to the show.
My grandma used to love you.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Used to love
now.
You. There's a member of the Linebenders, a girl named Shelly Pearson. And at one point you were doing like a show at her high school, or the high school she would attend later on, but she's in elementary school. And she has a picture with all of you guys that she has framed hanging up in her office at the Air National Guard.
Hilarious.
And even like to this day, she gets tickets to every single show, and she'll go like 3 times while you guys are in Fargo.
I know. Some people they come every night.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. Yeah. No, and we're really lucky to have people who still want to come out and hear us and see us.
And like, shout out to Sandy Thiel, right?
Exactly.
Sandy makes it happen.
Yeah. I need more 5s. I don't know. So how you doing, Sandy? Well, I just ate a pizza.
That's pretty much what it's like.
Sandy, we've known her for a long time. So yeah.
When I was in high school theater, Sandy was going through the change.
Yeah.
And so she'd be in the dressing room with me, getting me to tie on something, and she'd all of a sudden have a hot flash, and she'd like whip off this shirt that she was wearing. She's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I was like, ooh, this is uncomfortable for me on so many levels.
You go to Shanley?
I went to South.
South, okay.
Because, she costumes for every high school now.
Yeah.
She's the one who knows where all the hats are.
Yeah, it's amazing. She actually just, the time she gives for, it's pretty cool.
And her job at the Dakota Boys and Girls Club or Ranch is perfect because that's where she's getting some of these wild, weird outfits all the time.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. No, she's great. She's great. Yeah, there are a lot of people like her that have been through the years, been right there for us. It's pretty cool.
So when you put together Brat Pack Radio, do you would you love to be doing shows 700, 1,000 miles away, or do you like to tour semi close to home?
Well, for me right now, just semi close to home. But the idea is that putting this together, I wouldn't necessarily be moving into a place where I'm not in it, where it's cast and I'm just creating it.
Wouldn't that be great?
Well, that's kind of what I'm working towards. So yeah, we'll see.
I do post proms. Yeah, and I'm done. I'm done. Right. I drove all the way up to Baudette, Minnesota.
Right, I think I saw that.
Oh my God, it killed me.
Yeah,
and it's like, all right, everyone, it's 3:30 in the morning. It's time for your comedy show.
Right.
Okay, and it's the longest 60 minutes of my life.
Yeah, yeah.
And so
it all depends. I mean, it's fun. We get to do fly out dates once in a while, and those are cool. But as far as we keep things pretty close to home. And then if where there's if they're going to pay for it, I'll go.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It depends how much money you got. Well,
we got invited to perform in Corpus Christi, Texas, in a decommissioned aircraft carrier.
Wow.
We were like, well, yeah, of course. And so they're like, and we'll fly you down. And like, at this time, I was thinking today I would think this. Wait a minute, you're going to fly me into Dallas and I'm going to drive 5 hours? No. You'll fly me into Dallas and then get me a little puddle jumper to get me into Corpus Christi.
Right.
But at the time, I'm like, they're going to let me rent a car.
Right.
I'm going to rent a car.
Yeah. And no.
Yeah, it was a compact for 4 people. It was miserable.
No, but it's, it's the dream. It's living the dream.
It is, right?
I remember those gigs too, where you're like, oh, this is so cool. I think when we first got in the Blenders, we got our agent, we started picking up, gigs. We had a gig in Chicago, and then we were down at like University of Arkansas, like doing stuff, we're like, cool, man, we're trying. But it was like, okay. And then the next night you're in Duluth. And then after a while you're like, wait a minute, the numbers aren't panning out on this. What? We have 2 shows in Florida over the course of, in a span of 2 weeks. So we have to like go down and back. Well, we can't afford to fly. Well, I guess we're driving. Woo, no, not anymore.
Yeah, no,
you'd be like, no, I'm sorry. Can't do that.
At one point there's a smell that starts in the car that you just can't.
Pretty much.
You don't really realize it until you get out and then you get back in the car.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, we've all been comfortable. We all took our shoes off.
Yeah.
Like someone's sweating a lot.
Oh, it's bad.
Cheetos and beef jerky.
Well, for a while, like when the Blenders first started, we didn't have a van yet. So we would take separate cars, like a couple separate cars and ride together. And I think we had a pickup for our first gig down in Arkansas, and a pickup and a car, and we loaded sound gear in the back of a pickup with a tarp. It was so bad. But then, like talking about that, there was definitely a time where we would be doing like a tour of the East Coast and Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, all that kind of stuff. And I drove separately. I tailed behind him. I said, I do not want to be in that car anymore, and I want to have my own free time, and I don't want to listen to anybody, talk to anybody, And sometimes you have to do that. You get kind of tired of each other.
Yeah. Was this like during the cell phone era or pre-cell phone era?
It was pre-cell phone.
So if you wanted them to pull over, you had to flash the lights a bunch until they noticed?
In fact, I think this was kind of funny. We were going through Memphis. This was like, we had 2 cars. And we're driving through Memphis, and Tim and I were in one car, and Darren and Paul Dunkirk at the time were in another car. And we're driving down the highway, and we see a billboard for Graceland, right? And Tim and I are pointing at it, we're like, yeah, and they're looking at us. They're like, and we're pointing at it. And so we're like nodding, they're nodding. And we were driving and we took the exit. Right? And we didn't have cell phones. So that was it. So we're like, shit, what's going to happen? Where are they? How do we, okay, call our agent. Maybe they'll call our agent. Anyway, so we just said, well, we're going to Graceland. So Tim and I went to Graceland. We're like, we got to figure something out. So we get to Graceland and you go into like the main area and there was like a line of phone booths that you could, pull the curtain, go in and make a call. So our first thing was to try to call our agent and say, hey, or call their, you'd call their machines, their answering machine, right? Hey, we're at Graceland. We're here. Check your message. If you're checking your messages, we're here. We'll be in the lobby. And as we were doing that, we noticed that right next to us in the booth was Darren. So we always have this like kind of running joke that like, if we ever get separated, just meet at Graceland. But yeah.
So what do you like other than music? What defines you?
The family.
Yeah.
Oh, I love comedy. I love movies. I love, yeah.
Do you have a comedy that right now you're like, I could pop it in and watch it? I've seen it a million times already.
Less about like comedy movies, more about like I really love John Mulaney and Nick Kroll right now.
Yeah.
And Oh Hello, I thought was brilliant. Their Netflix show, and then and of course like the John Oliver and his show I think is great. Last Week Tonight. Yeah, I love that kind of stuff.
Did you watch Big Mouth?
I have. My wife and I started watching it, and it's definitely you have to go, oh, okay, yeah, it's the same guys who, all right. Yep. It takes you a little while to get into it and realize what's going on.
My wife will not watch it.
Yeah, it's pretty crass, but it's funny. It's very funny.
I think that there's a lot of, it's obviously animated and a little, it's out there, but there's a lot of very relatable moments in that show.
Oh yeah, and they don't mince words about anything.
Nope.
It's pretty good. I love that. I do love that show. What did we just watch? Oh, we watched. We're really into Barry. I love Barry.
Yeah, really
Barry's
good.
Great. Bill Hader's so amazing. We just watched Todd Margaret. We had never seen it.
Oh yeah,
and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool.
David
David Cross one? Yeah, okay. It was pretty interesting. The first two seasons were crazy. The third one was kind of bizarre, but love that. And of course, what are the ones we look out for? Better Call Saul now is like we wait for that.
I just talked to a guy. He's the new drama teacher at Fargo South, and he told me, I love Breaking Bad. I watched the whole thing in 4 days. Yeah, like just marathoned it. He goes, so I was really excited, and he's like, I'm 20 episodes into Better Call Saul, and I think this show's bullshit.
No,
I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, it's boring.
No,
and I'm like,
you're not there yet.
Yeah, right. I was hooked on that first episode.
It's as good. I think it's as good in many different ways. I love that show. Bob Odenkirk's great.
Yeah, he is.
So there's like that stuff. I haven't done the Game of Thrones thing though, so I don't know.
I'm mainlining that.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a commitment. I think I'm gonna have to gear up for.
Sexy stuff in it.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
So I mean, if that
dragons and stuff,
if that gets you into it more or not, dragons,
I don't know.
Sexy dragons.
You seem like the kind of guy who might have a couple shirts with a picture of a wolf on it.
No,
not
ironically.
Wolves.
No.
See, that's my favorite thing. If I'm gonna go someplace like
I know.
Deadwood, that's what
like
I want.
The truck stop.
Yeah.
See, my dad has
I
a
probably
jacket.
used to.
My dad has a jacket with like multiple wolves on it, unironically.
Sure.
He whips that out from time to time. Pretty proud of it.
I do have I do have something that's similar to that. For one of my birthdays, my wife bought me a leather orange and white NASCAR Home Depot jacket, which was like, oh my God, this is classic. I can't believe it was like $300 or something. She's like, I thought you would love this. I'm like, you're right. It's so like gaudy. It's like white and orange sleeves with Home Depot on the back. And I'm like, yeah, I'm excited. I wore that around for a while. That was an ironic kind of thing, but It was pretty sweet.
I actually realized the other day that the Blenders are partly responsible for me being interested in video production in the first place.
Really?
I don't know which music video it was you guys shot at Ben Franklin.
Oh yeah, something. Yeah.
I think it was still your original lineup. I don't think Alan was part of the group
I remember it was winter. It was really cold.
So my dad was a teacher at Ben Franklin Junior High School, and obviously knew these guys through Trollwood and stuff, and they were shooting a music video. Mm-hmm. And I remember there was like a section on the stage and a section in like a hallway. Yep. And me and my sister were just kids. I was probably 5 and she would have been 3 or something.
Was your dad there opening it up for us?
Yeah, he was just getting you guys in, and he was sort of like the school representative, just making sure nothing got broken or stolen, I think. Yep. And so Brianna and I got to hang out all day on this cool video production set that we'd never seen before. And I was like, what is going on? Yeah. And Dad was like, this is how they make videos. Like, that's a camera person, that's a director, that's a this. And they, it was the first time I ever saw it. And I thought, well, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And I remember my sister, I don't know if you must have had a makeup person on set, that Brianna went and just hung out with that lady the whole time.
Okay.
And just had a blast.
That's cool.
So I just remember that being a very early, but it was my first time I ever thought about video production at all.
That's cool. Yeah, that was the first one. And I mean, we were shooting them on 35 millimeter too. So it was like DP from Minneapolis.
Film production. It wasn't it wasn't video production.
Yeah, it wasn't video. So it was like film and like, so, you couldn't look at it right away, and that was pretty fun. You had dollies and tracks and all sorts of stuff.
Was it Snyder Film that shot that?
No,
or was it someone out of town?
It was someone out of town. Okay. The director came from LA. The production was partially here, partially Minneapolis. I think our DP came from Minneapolis. Yeah, and then that's just kind of started, and then it went from there. Then we worked with Dave Hansen stuff in town, and I think we shot our sailing video. Part of it was at Snyder, the interior there, but that was, again, 35 millimeters. And then we shot out in a wheat field, and those were expensive. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think about what we spent on that. Oh my God. If I could have that money now. Seriously, it was like, for the sailing video, I think like 40 grand or something like that. Like, that's just insane for that, especially at that time.
Right. That'd be so many Toyota Tercels.
It's like, but for, you're like, okay, this is going to launch us, and really, as far as it got, we'd be in a hotel in Georgia, and at like 3 a.m, some sea level music video station would come on. It'd be like,
and now the Blenders.
Yeah, totally. It would just be like, okay, after Little River Band, here's some. Yeah, and so it'd be like, oh, cool, my video's on. That's how much that costs to get us there.
Where did the name come from?
Well, Tim and I had the Blenders first with the Johnson brothers, Paul Johnson, Chris Johnson, North Fargo. So actually the Blenders was together in a different formation around 85, 86 or something like that, I think. But just sitting around the table, kitchen, North Fargo, throwing it around. It actually isn't an original name. There was a group prior to us, like that was, I want to say like back in the 40s, 50s, like that had some songs, and I think like, Lawrence Welk Show, that kind of thing. But the trademark went dead. So it was okay for us to, and at that time we didn't even really know that, but once in a while you'll see stuff pop up, or we'll get tagged in something that's not us. Okay. But yeah, that's just, we were in the kitchen, saw the appliances, and we're like, hey, the Blenders. And that was part of the thing too, when we were it was a little bit of an identity crisis thing, where we would try to get booked as the Blenders, and everybody just assumed it was going to be like 4 really old guys, It sounded like, it didn't sound hip or cool or anything, And so at the time when we were starting, it was like, oh man, everyone's like, oh, I think, we showed up thinking it was going to be a bunch of old guys, and now it is. So it kind of fits. Now it is just a bunch of old guys.
I stuck a Blenders reference into a deep, like a somewhat hidden Blenders reference into a movie that we made back in 2006 called Mercedes Ray versus the Presidents of the United States of America. The premise was time traveler gets her time machine stolen by Abraham Lincoln, who goes and starts collecting former U.S. presidents to show them the present.
Awesome.
And have a party with it.
I'll send you a house party. Yeah.
So they have a house party. So JJ plays Taft. And
Brilliant.
So he goes and gets a first smattering. He gets Thomas Jefferson. He gets Martin Van Buren, played by Steve Poitras, who had a cameo on a Blenders album.
Yep.
David Winterstein was Andrew Jackson, and you were Taft. Mm-hmm. And the first thing he brings them into a kitchen, and he demonstrates a blender that's sitting on the counter because none of them have seen an electric motor before.
Right.
And then Taft goes to read it and reads it as Blean Deer. And then Martin Van Buren steals it, and him and Jackson start fighting over the blender.
Hilarious.
And that was me making a reference to the blenders
that's great.
without referencing the blenders. When
that's
we did
great.
That. Yep. So I kind of want to,
awesome.
anything I do, I kind of want to put like, it wouldn't be a reference unless I specifically told you it was.
Right. That's great.
I wrote a sketch in high school where we did this like variety show, and it was going to be this big thing about how we got the blenders to appear in this variety show, and at the end it was just going to be 4 blenders on stools,
Right.
And it got cut because no one thought that it was funny, and I thought to myself,
Was Lorne
this is
Michaels
the height of
producing this?
comedy here.
Right.
Are you kidding me?
That's great.
Because throughout the whole show, the whole idea would be like, we'll be like, you guys, the blenders are all getting ready.
Right.
We got a special dressing room, so just stick around and like more from the PA2 class.
But this was a sketch, or was this like you were actually going like punking the audience?
Oh, it was a sketch,
Right.
But it was a punk of the audience, right? Like, so at the end they'd find out, and we would advertise it. The idea was you get there and you open the program, and it's like special performance by the Blenders at the bottom, and people go, "Holy shit, are you serious?"
Right. That would have been great.
Yeah, I thought it would have been hilarious, and I still to this day like am kind of resentful to the kids who are like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Well, they never will.
Right. And I'm like, it would be brilliant because we'd have the 4 blenders, and then people would think that's funny, and then 4 guys would step out, and they'd kind of step out backwards,
right?
But then turn around and just turn on the blenders,
right?
So
it's actually pretty brilliant.
It is, right?
It's very regionally specific.
It is.
Very regionally specific.
Thank God we are performing for ourselves.
That's so good,
right? I think probably one of the things that hurt that sketch was the fact that the sketch show goes up in May. And at that point, people don't have blenders fever. They've just gotten over it from the Christmas season, and they're waiting to have the next set of blenders.
It usually
fever.
times around when the McRib comes back.
It really does. It really does. Shamrock Shake season, not the best.
It's true. It's true.
So McDonald's Girl, do you have an affinity for the brand?
It was actually a song that was originally written by a guy named Dean Friedman, Canadian guy, and he had a hit with it over in England. And so at the time, our A&R guy at Universal was he loved Dean Friedman, and he loved this song. The Bare Naked Ladies had covered it. They used to do it live. He said, I think this would be a great song for you guys. And there actually was some controversy about it over in England because you can't have advertisements in songs, I guess. And so there's this whole right. So he thought, well, maybe we can get some legs on it if there's like a controversy about it. So anyway, we didn't write it. Dean Friedman wrote it, but we did change some of the lyrics. There's a line in there, I'm in love with the McDonald's girl. She's only 15 years old, right? Or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm in love with her so. And so we're like, yeah, that's not going to fly. So we changed it to 16. We're like, yeah, that'll work.
Huge improvement.
Yeah.
Be like, that's pretty
Hashtag
bold.
me
I
too.
mean, the country of England pretty much took down Jerry Lee Lewis for that. So
yeah, I mean, but that wasn't even the problem. The problem was with the branding, with having branding a song and then playing it on the radio, because then it's like free advertising. Anyway, so we recorded, and it actually did. It was the song that got the most airplay around the world, and it's like Australia and Germany and Norway. It was number 1 in the Europe somewhere, and but we never toured over there.
Did people ever bring like their old McDonald's uniforms and be like, "Would you guys sign this?"
Yeah, but we did do the star parties, around the country.
Yeah,
with the.
What does that mean, star parties?
It's like the radio station will have kind of like, here's what we're playing. These are our top hits. So they'll have a party where each of the artists come and they do like a couple of their hits or their songs that they're playing. So it's so we were in there with like God, it was like LFO or something like that doing, now I think only one of them's alive. I don't know. It's a weird thing. But, and then NSYNC was doing the rounds, doing that stuff. And so we'd do our songs. We had a couple songs. We'd go do that one. And in those towns, we were huge because the song was played all the time, but didn't really move much further. We started releasing singles after that, and everyone did progressively worse. So at that time, we were just kind of like, okay, we're going to pull the plug on this. And then we just bought the licensed the record, or bought the record back from them and released it ourselves.
If you could go back in time, would you change the outfits that you wear on the cover of your albums?
No.
Good, because that's one of my favorite parts.
Because that's the thing. It's a time capsule.
Yeah. When Tucker posted that picture, I immediately went back and like, oh, such a simpler time.
I know. No, we had, are there things that we would do differently? I don't know. We tried, I think, everything that we could too back then. It's like, there's not a lot that I would change. We were pretty serious about what we wanted to do. Like, we want to drive our own career. And that was kind of the problem too. We were courted by a few different record labels, major ones. I think our first one was CBS, Sony, was interested, and they flew us out to New York, and we showcased, and we're ending up at the top of the building having a conversation with the president of Sony Records and the VP of A&R and all this kind of stuff, and ready to kind of do something. And then they ask us, okay, so are you open to working with other producers and stuff like that? And we said, no, we want to do it all ourselves. And then the next thing you know, the limo's not picking you up at the hotel, so that happened a couple times. And then finally, we got a smaller record deal, an independent deal out of Minneapolis. Musicland Group started up their own record label called Orchard Lane. So the thought was, we'll sign a band, we'll have our own little record label, and then we can sell it in our stores and put it on the listening walls, the listening stations or whatever. And they didn't really know what they're doing, but they got the head of the label, which was basically two people and two bands, us and some band from Sweden, was Owen Husney. And Owen is a pretty iconic figure. He was the one who found Prince. Prince lived with him. He got him his first deal at Warner Brothers and all this stuff. And then Owen ran our record label. So that was cool because we got to start to move into the pop realm and have a couple people, we had JD Steele in Minneapolis from the Steel Singers, and Levi Caesar, who was the guitar player for the New Power Generation, produced that record. So here were four like green and white out of Fargo, getting produced by, a couple R&B dudes. And it was like just fish out of water, but it was really cool. And it was a kind of a cool thing for us. It was like, okay, this is going to be a new step. And because of that record on those listening walls, we got heard by an A&R guy for Universal who was going through Sam Goody in New York and saw these, artists on the walls and saw ours and was like, started listening, going, why the hell are these guys on here? What's going on here? Who are they? Why? Like that kind of thing. Like, I like it, but why? Because that space would cost a lot of money to put my artist on there. And anyway, so he got a hold of us, and then we signed the Universal deal, and there you go.
Nice.
Got McDonald's girl, and we're still together.
The rest is history, right?
The rest is history.
When are you guys going to do like a documentary?
Interesting that you should say that, because we're actually talking about, we start talking this week. We're going to be working with somebody in town here through Forum Communications. We're going to do like a half-hour special.
Sweet. Yeah.
So we'll be doing interviews and pulling up old footage and stuff, and half-hour commercial free to air during the holiday season.
I think that's awesome.
Around the reason. Yeah. It's cool because they wanted to do it. So
I'd also really watch a reality show where you guys drive to each gig, like together in maybe like a Winnebago.
Yeah.
And just like the hijinks and shenanigans, treat it kind of like the Monkees a little bit.
You know what? We did have that was actually a thing. We had there was a sitcom. There was talks of a sitcom a la Monkees back in the 90s. And they brought like Lorimar Pictures at the time, or whatever. They brought us out and we were having meetings and stuff to do that. And then that just kind of, I think we probably said, we want to be producers. See ya, you know. All right, another one down. But yeah, that was actually in the talks too. So
yeah. So Ryan, if you walk up to a breakfast buffet, what's the item you're looking for?
Scrambled eggs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you want the ones that have like things in it, like maybe some peppers,
scrambled
or
eggs.
just
I like
straight
cheese and then some Tabasco.
Oh,
yes.
'cause you like it spicy.
Yeah, probably some sausage too. Yeah.
Okay. So I asked for the one thing, and then you just like started.
Sorry. Okay.
Putting in everything you wanted.
AJ, he's picturing a buffet.
I'm
You don't
just-
stop
yeah,
at one
I'm not-
thing.
yeah.
I
You
know,
got
but
the
like
first thing. Well, now you have the eggs. What do you get next?
I judge a buffet by a single item. I'm like, what's your most impressive
All
item?
brown
on
and
this buffet?
orange. How do you even everything's brown and orange in buffets?
Because like if I walk up and I'm like, wait a minute, this Hampton Inn has bacon. That's impressive.
It is. Yeah. No, I'll take that. It's not the one thing though. I like the eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find I eat more at a continental breakfast than I do at a regular breakfast.
Sure.
I actually try and put together that picture you see on every cereal commercial, like a
Right.
well-balanced breakfast.
Right.
So I'll have some yogurt and then a banana and an orange.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll grab that, and then I have to get 8 cups of the orange juice.
Yeah. Because
it's
why
so
do they have the small cups?
I don't know. And then you get a bunch of yogurts, and you pile it on.
I
You're
really
like, oh,
shove a lot in my pockets
Well, it's
too.
free.
Because I'm going to go.
It's free. You're kind of like, this is free food.
I always think I'm trying to get my money's worth. So
You have
when
to.
I go to vacation in Chicago, I stay at a place that has a great continental breakfast, but I know that I'm paying more to stay in this place. So I'm going to get my money's worth by
Right.
being like, Jill's like, we're in Chicago. Where should we have lunch? Somewhere fancy? Like, nope. Look at this. I got some dry frosted flakes. I've got this yogurt still feels cool to the touch.
I've traveled a lot over the past couple of years, and I've never used the word "great" in a sentence with continental breakfast.
We
Ever.
We did a Brat Pack Radio show last summer where afterwards, it's really late. We're super freaking tired, and it's probably staying at like a Hampton or a Country Inn and Suites or whatever, and they've got the continental breakfast to the side, right? We're starving. So we come down in the middle of the night, which is that we're still up, come down, we're like, oh man, we just get some cereal and, some stuff like that, right? The next morning, they're like, we have you on camera stealing our food. We have you on camera. And we're like, what do you mean stealing? That is for breakfast only. We're like, well, we came in at 4 a.m. We were starving. We see Frosted Flakes and Fruit Loops and yogurt, and we can't have any. You're like, and so basically we kind of got not booked back in that town because we were on security camera and we were the bad. We're like, really? It's free. Or give this stuff away anyway. Yeah. And I'm not going to be up at the time. This is our time. This is my breakfast.
We had one show in a small town where I made out with the mayor's daughter. Didn't know it was the mayor's daughter. She was just like a big fan.
Was this part of the show, or this just happened?
No, this is after the show.
At this moment, did she know she was the mayor's daughter?
She probably did. And,
we got stories. That's a whole other show, isn't it?
We found out that we were not booked back because the mayor was super pissed that his daughter came back to our hotel and partied with us for a while, and
like your Gene Simmons.
Right, exactly. And I wanted to be like
those line blenders.
Those line blenders.
Damn it.
Of course.
Yeah, those are the things, right? Those are the road tales.
I tell you, there's a whole show on road tales.
Mm-hmm. We'll have to get you back for that one.
We'll call it Road Tale.
Road Tale. Now that is the show you could sell to IFC.
Roadtail.com.
That's where we end. Roadtail.com.
Yeah, that's it.
Beautiful. Thanks for coming by,
Thanks,
Ryan.
man.
A huge thanks to Natalie Deutsch of Hatch Realty for sponsoring this podcast. Folks, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, contact Natalie Deutsch today because Natalie Deutsch is not only a previous podcast guest, she's somebody who's going to care enough to sell your property for top dollar. She's also going to find you the best price possible if you're purchasing a new home. Last year on average, Natalie earned her clients $4,000 over list price on their homes and sold them faster than the market average. On average, Natalie's selling a home every 3.74 days. That's 2 homes a week. Those numbers don't lie. Find out why Natalie is one of the top agents in this entire market. Get a hold of her today, Natalie at hatchrealtyfm.com. You can also call 701-388-9338 or go on to livefargomorehead.com. That's livefargomorehead.com. Read all of her amazing reviews and then listen to her episode of JJ Meets World. Thanks again to Natalie Deutsch of Hatch Realty. That's going to wrap it up for today's show. If you enjoyed this episode of JJ Meets World and would like to help us continue to produce 2 new episodes every week, you can donate to our Patreon. Check out patreon.com/JJ Meets World and donate today. Even as little as $1 a month can go a long way. Visit our website at www.jjmeetsworld.com or hit up our social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the sites the kids are using these days. If you'd like to stay up to date on new episodes of JJ Meets World, you can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, YouTube, or wherever you consume the podcast that you love. JJ Meets World is produced every week by Tucker Lucas. You can find out more about Tucker's work by checking out www.moonbasemaria.com. If you want to get in touch with your host with the most, go to linebenders.com, and you can find direct contact info for JJ. He gave me $5 to say he's the handsomest of the blenders.